Ladies and gentlemen, for years I've been dreaming of sharks with freaking lasers connected to their heads. But today, I think I found something even better. A laser engraver that claims not to break the bank and is easy to use. Its screen is smoother than Mr. Bigglesworth's, well, everything. And its interface is so simple that even Mini-Me can use it. Well, behold, it's the AlgoLaser DIY MK2. And today we're going to take a deep dive into this laser engraver and see if it's everything that it's cut out to be, pun intended. Well, for the moment you've all been waiting for,
fire the laser!
Right after this.
Welcome to the show that sets your mind free. Tech and gadgets, 3D surprise. Spin off! Captain Creativity. Honesty inside to Compatibility. With David's guiding light, invention spark and take their flight.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Captain Creativity. I am your host, David Merrill, and today we're going to dive into the world of laser engraving. A company reached out to me called AlgoLaser. They said, hey, we have a new product called the DIY Kit MK2, and we think that it's going to be great for your audience. We think it's great for students. We think it's great for makers. It's simple. It's easy. It has a built-in LCD screen on the front display for you to get started right away. And then I was like, okay, yeah. But we need cost-effective things. I mean, my audience wants to get their hands on laser engravers and CNC machines, but the biggest barrier of entry has been the price. They said, oh, that's the best part, because it's only going to be $369.
What?
And then they gave another $30 off, and then it became $339.
Oh, great Odin's Raven!
And I think at some point I saw it even less than that during an early promotion sale or something. And I said, whoa. How could it be that's insane? You're giving them all this stuff. And then it didn't stop there. They said that you can load up your files right from the unit. It has OTA updates. It has an easy-to-use interface. It has a mobile app companion that works with it. You can also have it work seamlessly with LightBurn. There's another software called LaserGRBL as well. And I said, wait a minute. So you have all these different software platforms. It's super easy to use. Now I'm very, very interested. They said, okay, choose 2 accessories. I said, all right, you know what? I want the extension kit because I'm all about go big or go home. And they sent over an air pump because I heard sometimes when you do cutting, especially on the deeper cuts, it's really good to have the air assist there. So I said, I'm going to get an air pump as well. Now, just so you know, the build size right out of the box on this MK2 is 400 by 435 millimeters. And then if you get the extension kit, it goes upwards to 400 by 880 millimeters. That is nuts. So I'm going to unbox all of this today, and we're going to see how this thing works and see if this actually is as easy to use as they describe. So let's get started. Okay, so we are going to remove the air pump for now and the extension kit. Let's get started just with the basics over here. All right, so it gives me, I think I have like a experimental material, and oh yeah, I do. Oh, nice. Okay, so they'll give you something to start engraving with right away. That's really cool. We'll put that to the side. We have a quick start guide, and I see there's a piece of acrylic in here, so we could also do some engraving or cutting on the acrylic. Let's see what's in here. So the quick start guide, we're going to need that, right? A piece of acrylic. What are these? What is that? Some other pieces of plastic, like almost like, is that metal? It's like, yeah, I think they're thin sheets of aluminum. Pyrex. And a brush. I don't know what that's for, but we'll find out. Okay, ooh, look at this. Okay, so let's see if you can see that. Check this out over here. Okay, so it's nice and neatly packaged. So we have here the laser engraver, which I just knocked off. Oh, no, that's comes on with a magnetic piece. All right, very pretty. That's the 10 watt laser engraver, as you can see. Very nice. Safety first. They send you protective eyewear. I think that's fantastic. Okay, we have USB-C to USB-A cable. We have what looks like would go to the air pump assist tube. Now it's got some tracks, antenna, and some keys. Power brick. Those are our frame. Power cord. One of the axes are over there. Ooh, look at that. Take a look. See? Right over there. What is that, like a 1, 2, like about 3 inches or so? Nice LCD screen. Emergency stop button. And then the key to lock and unlock it. So if you did have this in your classroom, these are all critical things. Stop button for the case of emergency, a locking key so that no one could just turn it on without a teacher there or a parent. If you're using it at your house. Ooh, something was buried on the bottom. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to keep it to the side. Corner brackets. I feel there's got to be more. Oh, there is. Okay, there we go. All right. There's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than leaving something inside and throwing it away, and then you're running out to the trash bin trying to like salvage it. Right off the bat, I could tell you I'm a big fan of how they marked and labeled things. A, B. This is great. We have an A rod, a B rod. Usually I'm always scared of the DIY kits because, you know, we get used to like all of those out of the box stuff. But I'm starting to get the feeling that putting this together is even equivalent to the out of the box. Like when you buy a Creality printer, you know, even the ones that are like already pre-built, there's still a little bit of assembly that you still have to do. And I have to say, I'm getting the feeling that the amount of assembly we're going to need to do is going to be somewhat on par with what you would have to do with any 3D printer. But that's it. 4 pieces right over there. And then this guy is probably gonna really control everything. So let's begin. Okay, quick start guide. Let's see how quick and easy it actually is. So far, props on the organization, the labeling, not too scary. Instructions are actually pretty well fine-tuned. I mean, I could see like no spelling mistakes. You know, they know their audience. You know, they're saying like, listen, you're new to this. We're gonna make it simple for you. All right. So A is the front frame. Oh, they tell it to you right here. A is the front frame. B is the rear frame. C is the left axis. And D is the Y-axis frame. Perfect. All right. So this is the X-axis frame. The control box, we know, support foot 1 and support foot 2. That's what these are and these are. There's supposed to be a limit switch floating around here. I have no idea. I mean, I think it's already assembled onto the X-axis gantry. Focus assist. Is that what this is? I still don't know what this is, but we'll get there. We'll figure it out. Oh, that's a lens. That's a lens. That's what it is. This is the lens. Okay. And this is the air pipe, just as I thought. All right, so fine. We're really ready to go. And you know what? It does come with its own set of screwdriver, with its own wrench and everything. So you could really use everything that they gave you to assemble it. So perfect. Oh, and there is a limit switch in here. Again, maybe it's a backup. We'll see. All right, so machine assembly, number 2. So they give you this like really nice overview, as you could see over here. They even have an installation video, which is really great. I think mine's gonna be more fun, but we'll see. So the way this whole thing is gonna work, we're gonna start with B first. With the flat surface over here, we are going to take the support feet that they have, and we are going to put it kind of like this along with C, right? It's gonna go this way. Right, so the numbers are gonna be on the inside, and that's gonna line up with the B frame, where you're gonna have the smooth surface over here. So you could go like that. Now, again, don't look at the stickers because maybe they put the stickers on different sides when you get it, but it's gonna end up going like this. Okay, so you have the C over here, you have the B over here, and you're gonna have the smooth surface, so the channel is on the inside. Now, and you're gonna notice that there's a hole on the B channel right over here. You gotta make sure that B, that hole, is facing outwards, okay? And so you do it just like that. I'm gonna take away this sticker here for the time being because it's getting in the way. And we're gonna put in one of these feet here. So the foot is going to go like that, okay? And we're gonna put a screw in here, and we're gonna put a screw in here. In the bag, let's find our screws. I'm gonna lay them out. First, I'm just gonna get rid of the track belt. I'm gonna put the track belt over there. The antenna we can leave to last. Let's see what else we got here. I would put the keys away. Let's see the different types of screws we have. So in the other bag, you have these really, really thin screws. We're gonna put those you don't need right now. But essentially, if you wanna know which ones are which, you, in the bag that came with all the nuts and bolts and everything, the bigger one is the M5 by 30. And then you have over here the M5 by 14. And then you have the smallest one, which is the M5 by 8. Okay, so there you go. You got M5 by 30, M5 by 14, and M5 by 8. And so for this step, we're going to just need right now the M5 by 14 and the M5 by 30. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and take our Allen wrench, take the thicker one over here, and the rod with all the numbers, again, the numbers are gonna be on the inside. You're gonna take that red bracket, just like that. And again, with the screw facing outwards towards the hole, well, actually, you could start with this one first. And you're gonna basically put that in like that. And then I would just kind of bring that one in here. There we go. Okay. Don't over tighten it because you may have to adjust it. That's already in pretty well. And now it's time for me to put the M5 by 14 in. I'm gonna do that one just like this, just so you could see it there. Okay, so that one's done. And there you go, nice. All right, so now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Now we're gonna take that X-axis component. You'll notice over here, the numbers are gonna be facing up, the measurement units are gonna be facing up, and motor is gonna be facing the frame. And so you'll notice over here that there are these rollers. We're essentially passing that through the rollers. So when we get to this part over here, we're going to pass the rollers through, all right? And then just kind of roll them on, okay? And then once it's out of the way, what we're going to do is the other side, and we're going to do much of the same thing we did in the last steps, along with the feet and screwing in those M5x30s. So again, you're going to have the channel facing in an upward motion like so, and we're going to put in those legs just like this and like that. Only you got to make sure that the hole on the, what is this called, the A piece? On the A piece, you have to just make sure that the hole in the channel is facing outwards. When you're putting on the frame and you're putting it all together, you want to make sure that the A piece has the sticker facing up. Now you might be looking, hey, wait a minute, what happened? Did you just build the unit? I thought we're in the beginning. Well, I'm going back in time. Because I found out that I did something wrong. And I didn't want you to go through this step by step with me and then have to go back and do the correction. So I'm interjecting it right here, right now, that on part A, you make sure that this sticker right over here is facing up. And you'll notice that there are two holes, and that's going to be on the left side if you're looking at it from the front. Okay, so on this step, which they say is step number 4, you're going to basically take this belt tension cable that they sent us, see? And with the teeth facing down, and this is really important, with the feet, with the teeth facing down, we are going to put it through the front of the system. Now, where's the front? Well, the front, if you see this little black plate over here? This is where later I'm pretty sure the laser module goes right on here. And so this would be the front, okay? So just so that you can see it from this camera view, the front, if you see here's the black plate, thing will go there, that's the front. And if you look at the front, and you take a very close look, you'll notice that there are slots here and over here. And so what we do, again, with the teeth facing down, we're going to run that cable through the slot and bring it in. Now, here's where, I wouldn't say it gets tricky, but you have to be aware, because most people, I think, would right away breeze through and say, oh, okay, I'm just going to pull it out to the other end. And you certainly can do that, but you would be missing a critical step. If you take a look, you'll notice that there are teeth right over here. And so what you want to do is you kind of want to get that belt over and then under again. I'm going to try to do that. This is definitely probably the hardest part so far in the assembly. Ah, got it. Okay. And totally, there we go. So you see what I did there? You see how I got it? I got it up over here. And now, and you can see why the teeth have to be down, right? And then now that I got the teeth down, it's time for me to, yeah, I pulled it out too far. I have to now loop it back under the roller. Okay, but not to go back, you have to get it to go forward because we have to keep going. See, just like that. Just like that. You see? And then you keep doing it, bringing it forward. And then you'll notice over here, you have the rest of it. And we're going to now bring that forward until you get to the other end over here and you loop it through the other end of the hole. And that's it. And so now we have successfully put it through, and we have to repeat this process again. Okay, so at this point, now that we put in our belt tension cable in and they're sticking out both sides, I wouldn't advise cutting them, not until we're sure that everything is nice and taut. Eventually, we're gonna have to tighten this a little bit. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these washers that came in the bag, and then remember the small screws, the M5s by 8mm. And if you notice over here in the back, there's a screw hole. There should be one on the outside here and there, as well as in the front, there and there. What we're gonna do, so we're gonna take the M5 by 8, put it right over there, and we're gonna go ahead and screw that in. Now what this is gonna do, it's gonna pinch over here onto the rubber belt. And that's okay. Make it nice and tight for now. And like I said, if we're gonna cut, don't cut now. You could cut something later. In my opinion, I wouldn't cut anything unless it gets in the way, and we'll find out shortly if it does. But go ahead and do that on the two back corners first. We're gonna go ahead and repeat the process. Okay, so that's nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. So now that you have the back part done, now is where we're gonna make it tight. And we do need to make it tight, taut. I guess they call it taut. And we're gonna do that right now. So it's at this point where we kind of have to give it a little bit of a yank. And the idea is we wanna give it enough of a yank so that it feels like it's not too loose, but don't pull too much. You don't wanna break this thing. You just wanna pull it out when you go ahead and you screw it on. So I would get your M5 by 8mm screw ready and start screwing it in a little bit, like so. And then with your other hand, kind of give it a little bit of a tug and then screw it while you're holding it out so it doesn't retract on you. And that should be it. And now that should allow the motor to go up and down freely. So I'm gonna do the same thing over here. For the time being, I would leave it now, just like that. Okay, so now comes the limit switch. So there is a limit switch, and we're going to install that in this corner over here. So where the front is, over here, as you can see. Okay, so as you can see, here's the front, right? And we're gonna put the limit switch over there in that corner. We have a limit switch metal plate, okay, which looks like this. And then we have that limit switch that has like a little button on it. And then if you remember, we have those tiny screws I told you about, those M2.5 by 9mm screws, 4 of those. And we're gonna take those all out right now. As you can see here, there are 2 notches. There's actually 4 holes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the first 2 holes is where we're gonna put this on, okay? So we're gonna just go ahead and do that. And then once that's done, you're gonna end up going ahead and putting in over here, here's your limit switch. And with the 2 prongs facing outwards, you're gonna go ahead, again, put the 2 screws in like this, okay? And with the 2 screws here and here, we're gonna line them up with the holes. All right, so now that we're finished with step number 5, we're gonna move on to step number 6. And they even tell us, 80% complete. Keep up the good work. All right. Just make sure we didn't miss anything. Okay, so now we have to put in the laser module. And for that, there's a thumb screw that looks like this, right? And all we're gonna do is we're gonna take this laser module, right? We're gonna go ahead, take that laser module, We're gonna put it right in. We're gonna take this guy, and you can see this is the plate that's gonna slide in. Whoop, just like that. And what we're gonna do here is we have 2 holes over on the side that you could put thumb screws in. And that's exactly what we're gonna do right now is we are going to put in those thumb screws. So to get it started, I'm just going to put one in. Okay. And you see there are the 2 thumb screws, and you could put them on the bottom too. There are 5 holes, but I think we're just meant to put on the bottom 2 for now. That's what we're gonna do. Not gonna hold it in too hard until I'm ready to tighten it later, but that should be fine for the time being. Okay, you then have an air pump. That's the next thing we're gonna do. Now, if your tube comes dented in any way, do yourself a favor and just make sure you kind of take out any indentation, because if it's blocked, that's going to be a real problem, okay? I don't think the air is going to flow through if you have it too tight, so just try to kink out that tube. We're just going to fit that in just like that, and it just grabs it, so there's nothing more you have to do there, which is great. And then we're just going to leave that to the side for the time being. Okay, so since this stage seems to call for the air assist, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take out the air assist. We're going to open it up. I really say they're really good when it comes to these instructions. You could tell that they put a lot of care into it. And it looks like I even have another tube over here that looks better than the one that was included. So I'm going to take a look at that in just a moment. It comes with some sort of very thin tie wrap. Here is their air assist. And we're going to keep that to the side. Oh, interesting. What the heck is that? Oh, that's so cool. Let me show you guys this. I mean, maybe all the air assists have this, but they have these like feet on here that will wiggle so that this way the motor doesn't vibrate and like cause all kinds of chaos, like mess with your laser engraver. It's actually really cool. All right, so we'll put that down for later. And then here is the tube. I should probably read the instructions. I'll just double check it. I mean, there's not really a lot of magic and mystery here. You basically have an air pipe and then nothing else. So yeah, this really isn't all that hard to kind of assemble. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the tube and you're going to put it onto the outlet like so. And kind of just want to push it all the way down. They didn't mention anything about the sealing ring, and but I'm assuming one of the things you could do is take that tie wrap that they did give you, and you can actually tie wrap it right around here to give you that extra seal. I don't have that with me because I think I dropped it on the floor, but I'll find it later and I'll put it on, but I believe that will go right around over here. So with that being said, now let's go ahead and take this cable over here, and you're just going to basically plug it in like that. And now you have a nice tight fit. Feel that it doesn't go anymore, and you're all set to go. Okay, so now it's time for us to install the module, and that module is going to be connected with the M5 by 14 millimeter screws. And you're going to see that that's going to go right in the front. And you're going to know you're doing this right because you need to make sure that this module, if you're looking at the unit dead on, it's going to be on the left side of your module, okay? And you're going to line it up with the holes. There are some holes in here, and you're going to line it right up with those holes. Okay, so if you notice over here, you have your 2 holes from the module, and you have 2 holes from the A-frame. And you're going to take that cable, you're going to kind of just push it out to the side, and you're gonna line it right up, just like that. And then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna take your screws like this, the M5 by 14, and you're just gonna start screwing that in. It might be easier to kind of push it forward as you're turning it. And then once you get it in, the next one will be pretty easy. In fact, you could kind of let that one go and start on the other one, just so that you don't accidentally over tighten it somewhere and then it's too hard to get in. So now that that's done, I'm gonna turn to this side just temporarily, and it's time for us to kind of connect our pieces here. Okay, so if you take a look over here, you'll notice that we have all these jacks, and this is where we're gonna connect our air assist into there. But we also have wires that come from the main cable. And the one that, and this is why it's so important that your unit is on the left side, because if it wasn't, you would have major issues connecting these wires. There's no difference between which one goes where, so you just pop them right on. There you go, there's one, and that should be two. Just be careful when you put them on. They should slide on. You may have to give it a little bit of force, but they will slide on, okay? Okay, we now have the X cell and the Y, and they are gonna go right into here and here. You're gonna turn it that way and push it in, just like that. And the same idea over here is you're going, here, we'll just move that tubing out of the way for a second. Okay, we're gonna organize this in just a moment, but for the time being, we're just gonna kind of snake that through. Same idea, gonna just push them in. Try to be a little careful when you're putting it in. Okay. Okay, that's one. The other one in. And that is two. That's it. Okay, so now we're gonna take the L cable, which is for laser, and we're gonna go ahead and plug it in right at the top here. There we go. And that's it, nice and plugged in. And you certainly could try to loop it over for some organization here if you want to, and kind of slide it in. But we'll wait till the next step for that. Okay, so now we're up to the point of cable management. And this is going to be really critical, because if you do this in error or you don't have good management, you're going to really ruin your laser engravings or your cuts. So one of the things that I've done, I went through the instructions, and I feel like the best way to do it is to really take your laser module on the x-axis gantry here, and I would move it all the way to the right and all the way back on the y-axis. And then take a look, you'll notice over here that you have the air assist pipe coming up, and it goes this way, and I put in some of the connectors over here. Now, make sure, do not pinch it too tight. You want this thing to have a little bit of a give, because you do not want to crush it, otherwise it's going to block the flow of air. So you just want to do it just to keep it in place, and you're going to come across and put a connector here, 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 along the way over here, right before the connector over here, which then connects to the air assist. And then I put another one right over here on the other end. I did not fasten this to this plate here. And the reason why is I just felt that it was going to get in the way when this unit came back. And so I found that leaving it free was the better option here. And then as you see, as it moves forward, you're good to go. So see, come back this way and back again. And so far, so good. I'm totally up to suggestions. If you think there's anything better to do here, all ears. But this seems to be the best solution for the cable management that I've come across. Okay, so let's just go over the connections on the side. The first one is, if you have a thumb drive, you're gonna just plug it right on in over there and load up your files. The next one is, it says serial. It is a USB-C cable. And this one is going to connect into your computer. So you have a USB-A on the other side, and that's where that is going to go. You then have another port, and this is, I mentioned earlier, this is for air assist, and it is for air assist, but for my unit, what I received, and according to the instructions, we're going to be using something that has a dial. And so when you turn it on, you basically are going to control your air assist manually. I'm going to follow up with the company and see if there is one that is compatible with automatic. And if there was, I know that that's where this would go. So just an FYI there. And then last but not least, you have your power. So we're gonna get started just to kind of set it up. We're not gonna actually cut anything yet because I'm not crazy. I'm not gonna do that on my table without some kind of a protection underneath. So let's go ahead, plug that in. Now that that is all plugged in, all right, so I'm gonna pull that off. Be careful, don't rip it. A little tighter than I expected. All right, gone. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin. We're going to go ahead and put the key in, make sure it is in the unlock position. And now what we're going to do is turn this on. But before we do that, if you get a warning, and I got this warning and it threw me for a loop, the good people at AlgoLaser actually told me what you want to do is make sure that this is pushed down and released. If you have it down, then that means it's in an emergency mode. And that can happen sometimes when you're taking the unit out. You may accidentally press it down and you're going to end up getting with this error. So if you end up with something like this, and I'll just show you what it will look like. Okay, so if you get this, don't panic. Everything is fine. It just means you accidentally press this. I made that goof. I'm sure others will make the same goof. And all you got to do is bring it back up like that. And you're all good to go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we chose English. We're going to search for our Wi-Fi and we're going to connect our Wi-Fi. Okay, and so now that that's done, you'll see that it's connected successfully. And now we have a couple of QR codes. If I'm not mistaken, this QR code is for the official website. This is for help, for support. And this is if you want to join the discussion. I guess it's some kind of a contact us thing. So, all right, hit finish. Whoa, hello. Nice. Okay. So it looks like we're in business here. Okay, so we're ready to start carving something. Now, just keep in mind that if you want to do that and you're still connected to the mobile app, what you're going to want to do is go to your mobile app and disconnect the device to free up the screen. Once you freed up the screen, you can now go over to, well, actually, before we begin that, I want to do something important. One of the cool things about the system is that it has firmware, OTA firmware capability. So let's check that out. Is there a firmware that is available? So we're going to go to firmware, checking for updates. And if there is a firmware, it's going to proceed and we're going to download it because it's really best to begin with everything being up to date. And sure enough, they did find a new update and you hit click to update and that's it. And I love that. That's really kind of cool. No USB stick, no plugging into the computer or doing anything weird. You just basically connect it to the network, press a button and you're done. So props there. Okay, so let's dive into the AlgoLaser app. First thing we're going to do is try to connect the device. So we're going to go through this search, and this is it, the AlgoLaser DIY Kit MK2. You'll notice here that I actually do have an IP address that I can match it up against, but I also have this name. So I guess look for the name, look for the IP address. You could correspond that very easily on your LCD screen. In here, I would choose for the DIY MK2 kit. If you did get the 10-watt laser module, it should be this one, ALM 10WBD, 10 watt, and you hit confirm. Okay, so now once that's connected, you're all set to go. You could begin controlling it or starting your first carving. And this is what I find really interesting, is that I can actually pull up a bunch of objects from a library. I can import a file. I could put on barcodes, QR codes. I could create puzzles. And I could do all that through the app, which is really impressive. So if I go ahead and I choose an image from the library, here's something very basic, and I could put it on there. And what's really neat is that if I press this setting over here, it's gonna actually move the laser and kind of recreate the position of where it's gonna be. So it's gonna show you the exact area that it's gonna be, and it gives you a preview for that so you can make sure that it's in the right position. And I have to tell you, this is a lot of capability for a mobile app. I mean, this really does make things super user-friendly. So for those of you who are beginners, this is a really good app and really impressed by it. Before we get started, I'm gonna go ahead and go to settings, and I wanna do a device self-test. So it says here, please press the emergency stop button within 30 seconds, and then release the button after the emergency stop prompt appears. Okay, so, all right, and then press it. There we go. Okay, now turn the child lock key within 30 seconds. All right, so let's do that. So we have it in the lock position. There we go. Now it says the laser balance will be turned on. Yeah, I do see it. Okay, the air pump has been started. Please check whether the pump blows out air and gives feedback through the options below. Well, for that, we know that our pump is actually manually controlled through that knob. So I'm going to turn that on. And I hear it. So I'll just click OK. Okay, now it shows me a couple of things here. I'm going to say, all right, okay, 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 okay. Skew detection is in progress. Please wait. Okay. Skew away. Air pump communication detection is in progress. Please wait. The SD card is being detected. Please wait. Okay. And yay, done. Okay. So we passed. There's no air pump communication because we don't have it connected. So I guess that's not surprising. But all right, let's put it back into the unlock mode. And let's start a project. All right, so for the first project, I'm going to do something from the SD card. I'm going to go over to this folder over here, and I see this little monster file. I like that one. I hit engraving, select your material, and then it's going to ask you, okay, like how dark do you really want to get it on there? And so you have all these different patterns here. So I think this one will come out pretty well. So I'm going to hit confirm. Okay, and it says it's going to be 46 millimeters by 50 millimeters. So that's pretty good. That's a small amount just to kind of get it started. Is you go processing. Now we're going to go see if it actually does what it needs to do. So let's take a look here. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing this button over here, and it's going to show where it's going to do the cut over on the birchwood. Oh, that's neat. Okay, now one thing you're going to want to do, you have this measuring tool over here. Well, it's really more of a guiding tool. And what they recommend that after you put down your material onto the board, you're going to go ahead and you're going to remove, loosen the screws, and you're going to put that right on top of your material and then let it fall right on the side of the piece over there, if you could see that. And so that's going to be very important because that's going to give you the appropriate distance that this laser needs to be from the material. And then what we're going to do is going to tighten those thumb screws right back up. And at that point, you can now remove the material, remove the guide, and just basically just tighten it up, okay? And you're all set. So just keep that to the side, and That's what this is for. It's very important. So don't lose that. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and see where it's going to cut that piece out. Like it. Beautiful. And now we're going to hit start. And it's going to begin. Okay, so I'm using Laser Dribble here, or LaserGRBL, whatever you want to call it. And I have the cable over here connected into the AlgoLaser. And basically connecting it was really it was a cinch. All I had to do was just plug it in and it auto detected it. And that was it. You hear that little bloop, bloop, and you're good to go. And so now all I have to do is hit run program, put on your glasses, and you're off to the races. All right. So not bad at all. I mean, take a look at that. That's pretty cool. Here, let's get that out of the way so you can get a better look. Not bad. And now we're going to do the test on some coated metal or coated steel. So basically, this is like a coated business card, essentially, and we're now engraving our logo right on it, and we'll see how it comes out. All right, there we are. Pretty good. I like it. Okay, everybody, I have to tell you, AlgoLaser really hit it out of the park with this one. So first and foremost, I just want to tell you, I am by no means a laser engraving expert. I am so much more comfortable and so much more familiar with 3D printers, but this product really made it simple for me. So let's start with the module in the front. I was able to load up files right from the interface, and through the touch screen, I was able to send it to the laser engraver, no problem. Then I went over to the mobile app, and I was really pleasantly surprised. This thing is it's actually a really powerful and robust app. It's not buggy. It gave me all the capabilities I was expecting, and it worked. And it was pretty impressive. And I think that probably the majority of the things that I will be looking to do with my laser engraver, I could probably get away with just using that mobile app alone. But now if you're more on the pro side and you want to use LightBurn or Laser Dribble or GRBL, however you call it, it worked also just as seamlessly. You plugged in the USB and the engraver was recognized immediately. It connected, and then you were off to the races. With all that being said, who is this meant for? Well, at $339 and the fact that it's easy to use, it's for everyone, whether you're a pro, whether you're a beginner. But here's what I'm going to say. If you're going to buy this unit and you're either a beginner or you're planning to get it for your school, I'm going to recommend that you go for the extra safety and you get the safe kit, especially if you're in a school. In a school setting, getting a safe kit is extremely important because you need that enclosure and you're going to need that smart air assist. I think you should buy that as well. Let's talk about that smart air assist for a second. Regardless of whether you're in a school or not, I think everyone needs the smart air assist. I think it has to be something you buy with this unit because not only does it clear the smoke as you're cutting or engraving, but more importantly, it improves the quality of your cut. If you don't have this going on, I will tell you that it actually leaves marks and scorch. You know, it it doesn't look great. But when you have the Smart Air Assist on, it really comes up way cleaner. So I recommend that for everyone. So with that being said, if you added all that up, and you got the safe kit is about $674. And then if you buy the Smart Air Assist, it's another $100. And that comes out to $803. And really, that's not bad. I mean, when we look at competitors in the industry, like the xTool S110W, and you add on all the same things that you get in the safe kit, you come out to somewhere around $1,200, if I'm not mistaken, $1,300, somewhere in that ballpark. So you're looking at over a $400 savings. So I will definitely tell you, xTool, you have a competitor. I was very surprised that somebody would go up against them and say, look, we can make laser engraving simple and easy too, but we can also make it affordable. And I think what they did was really interesting, how they approached the market and they said, we're going to make everything modular for you. You don't have to get everything bundled in. If you want to buy them individually, if you're a pro and you know how to handle Air Assist independently and you don't need that, then you could just walk out with this awesome large build size $339 laser engraver. But if you want to get some of those extra safety features and capabilities, you're still coming in well below a lot of the competition. Now, I know those are fighting words, and I know some of you out there are not going to like to hear that or are going to have a problem with it. And that's okay, because I can take it. I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, what do you think? Do you think that this guy really is a contender? Do you think that there's something that I have missed here? Are there other people who are priced in certain ways that can be real competition to AlgoLaser? Tell me. I'm very interested, because when I did my research, I was really pleasantly surprised with what they were offering and the fact that it was so polished. And by the way, their website is really good. You have to, when you go to their website, they really break out the settings for you. They do an amazing job on YouTube with videos, and they really make sure that you have all the information you need. And whenever there's going to be a firmware update, you're just going to do it over the air just by pressing a button, which is beautiful. With that being said, I highly recommend it. I think it's really awesome. I'm going to definitely be using it in my lab. I think I'm going to start cutting out letters and putting on designs in different rooms. So I have a ton of things I'm going to do with this. Now, on a side note, I just wanted to remind you all that we also have memberships on our channel. I mentioned last week that we just started. Don't forget, we're going to have exclusive content, behind the scenes stuff, files, Discord server, all that good stuff. And of course, your joining our channel means that we can do more good charitable work for the STEM community. So there's that too. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.